Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joy today from the Department of A-Trade Consumer Protection. We've got Michael back here, our DATCP specialist. I don't think I said it the last time, but the first time I did, and I just kind of skipped over that, but
I'm back.
You're back.
Back to being a specialist.
When Michelle's here, she's the specialist.
Well,
when the next person shows up, they're the specialist.
Oh, I thought I was special.
You are very special. You guys at DATCP are so special because you bring us some great information on preventing scams and everything else in between. Today we're talking about Medicare Advantage, open enrollment, and preventing scams. So twofold here, and I had to ask you off air to make sure that I understand this correctly because there's a lot of information here. So I'm going to start on the scam side first.
Okay.
Timing's everything, and so this one to me is a timing thing that during this time of year when open enrollment starts, so does the phone calls. And I've heard this from other, we've got a BBB person that comes in us, and she always is like, scammers follow the news.
They do.
Scammers follow the timing. So it's a timing thing right away that you can expect this time of year if you actually listen to a spam call or see some spam. You might see some things on Medicare. And those are just blanket scams just trying to rope you in, right?
It is, and they know that there's a window. So, general Medicare last October, you have the opportunity to renew and sign up there. Medicare Advantage now is through March, and so there's really two great windows of opportunity. Scammers know that, and they also know that recipients and participants are going to be kind of expecting phone calls from legitimate providers and businesses trying to, pitch or offer you opportunities to change your plan or work with them and things like that. So scammers do the same thing. They pretend to be these companies. Sometimes they portray to be legitimate companies themselves. And the goal there is to get your personal information, to get your Medicare ID number, which is really kind of the equivalent of your Social Security number when it comes to these programs. Because once they have that, they can do a lot of other things. Maybe potentially getting your banking information to say, hey, if you're going to receive some of these benefits, where should we be sending some of the money for deductibles, returns, things like that. So they'll portray that side of it to really kind of perpetrate the scam when they know people might have their guard down and might not be scrutinizing it as much as if they were getting a call for this in, say, June or August.
All right. So switching to the other side of things, so let's say you think you found that broker that is going to help you through some of these things. How can you confirm what the plan really includes? So you think you found it, you think you got it lined up, or maybe you're already working with somebody, but you're working through this. Hopefully I'm doing this right.
You're doing it right. No,
you're looking at me like, I don't know, Jeremy.
No, you said it perfect. And really, you said two things in there. The first is you're working with a broker, or maybe you see an ad, and there is, don't give in to saying, I believe what they're telling me. Like, the broker, they must know what they're talking about, and so on and so forth. Have the confidence to ask the questions to verify for yourself. And then also knowing what those questions are. And so that can start with, your primary doctor or your care that you're receiving. Are they still going to be in network? Or somebody that you've been seeing for 15 years and you switch plans and all of a sudden they're out of network and you can't see them anymore. And you want to maintain that relationship. The second is, are the costs going to change? You're used to paying this deductible or this is your copay. And so if you change plans, is that going to change with it? Another one is your prescriptions. Are they going to be covered? And so you want to know, hey, if I change, all of a sudden now my prescription went from $10 to $1,000. And then the last is if you know that you have, maybe recurring issues, you get treatment, are you going to need that pre-authorization that is going to be, maybe difficult to get or some more hoops to jump through? And so these are all questions, but the reason they're so important is because every person is unique. And every person has a different situation. And so you can't have maybe a provider or a broker call and say, oh, yeah, this will fit, because they don't know who you're seeing, what you're being seen for, what your prescriptions are, maybe what you've been paying for, what your budget is. So that's why it's really important that you take the initiative, I should say, to ask the questions to make sure you're protected and any change you made is to your benefit.
Yeah, I assume, you think it could be a legitimate company and they still, if you don't ask these questions, you might be surprised, like, oh man, I thought this was all going to be the same. Don't just assume, take some steps again to kind of protect yourself. Ask the questions. These are great questions because these things are big deals. You might have been with the doctor for so long or you're the nearest pharmacy you find out is like 10 miles away or that the med that you have isn't covered anymore. Those are pretty substantial things that could really hurt you in a lot of different ways.
They could, and when you think sometimes Medicare Advantage, you can maybe sometimes have an assumption that, or maybe if you're new to the program and haven't been participating or want to enlist now, you think, well, isn't it all generalized? Isn't it the same? Because it's Medicare, right? So you're thinking, oh, it's just a standard set of rules, and couldn't be further from the truth. There's a lot of different variations and options.
Keeping records super important as well when you're working with this. Why?
so that you understand what you signed up for. And then if you don't receive those benefits or there were additional costs, you can make sure that you have documentation to show what you signed up for and what you should be receiving and what those payments should be.
If you are doing that over the phone, how can you get records of that?
Good question. One, of course, you could record the phone call, but what I would ask is any times that you're done with that, ask them to mail you the agreement. You always ask before I, confirm all of this. Can you please make sure you send it to me in writing so that you can review it?
And if you're not sure where to start, or you're like, man, I think I need help with this, Michael, how can we find help in this area?
Well, Wisconsin has a state health insurance assistance program. They call it kind of SHIP Help, and you can go to their website, which is shiphelp.org. We also can find a lot of unbiased information at medicare.gov. That's a really good opportunity because we're emphasizing unbiased, right? There's no opportunity for a secondary business to try and influence your decision or kind of make you that pitch to you. And if you want to ask questions and you don't find any of the answers you have online there, you can call 1-800-MEDICARE, and they'll be more than happy to explain to you kind of the things we talked about here and get you on the right path.
It's a lot of information, and it can feel a little scary, a little like, oh my gosh, first I got to find a legitimate company, then I got to make sure to ask the questions, and then I got to make sure that they were legit, and I have the records to prove that they were legit and they stuck to the plan. It can be overwhelming, but I think taking some steps before you start this process too probably is going to pay off good by doing that homework on the shiphelp.org or medicare.gov, like you said, and just kind of review it before you even start that process. Probably going to help you out.
It's a great suggestion because then you know what you should be listening for. I mean, we talked about what you should ask, but then also hey, wait a second. They're telling me this or they're asking me for that, and I know they shouldn't be.
Yeah, that's good. It's good information. Well, I appreciate it. One more time for folks, if they want to find more information just generally on scams or want to reach out to you guys just to get in contact to ask some questions because they're like, uh-oh, something's wrong, or they're just curious.
Yeah, reach us on a variety of issues, and if we don't have the answer, we know exactly where to get the answer for you. You can call us at 1-800-422-7128, or if you want to hop online, look at our library of resources. We have fact sheets, consumer guides, information on what we're talking about today. That's at datcp.wi.gov.
Told you he was our DATCP specialist. Done a great job again, Michael. Appreciate it.
Thank you.